All right, everyone, and thank you for joining our open house today. I am Ludo Farage, CEO and founder of Nucamp, and with me is Sandra Kubota, one of our top instructors as well as advisor. And you may actually have received emails from Sandra in the past. Hey, Sandra, how are you?
Hey, doing good.
All right, so let's start the very first 30 minutes of our open house. During these first 30 minutes, we will present you New Camp. We'll go into details into our curriculum, our tuition, the overall experience, and what you can expect, and how we help you obviously get a job at the end. And then the next 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes, we'll go through your questions on either YouTube or Facebook. So we are streaming live right now on YouTube and Facebook. And we'll get to your questions at that moment in time. Zendra and myself will just take them one by one and try to answer them the best we can. Without further ado, and let me share. Am I sharing my screen right now? I hope I do. Maybe
I,
I'm not. Now, there you go. See? All right. So let me share my screen, making sure that you actually see what I want to
hey,
show. Um, so let's talk about Nucamp. Who are we and how do we think about what we do in a slight different way from what the other typical coding bootcamp will do. The very first thing that is really close to our heart is our social mission to help any aspiring developer in every community enter the digital economy. And you know that word "every" is really meaningful because we are actually available. We have instructors. Before COVID, we had locations in 35 plus cities and actually growing into 180 cities in the US. So really being able to provide that level of access, that level of support everywhere in the US is really key to us. And then obviously the way we do that is also by providing probably the most affordable tuition in the industry. And there's no magic there. It's just a different way to run a business. And as you've probably seen from our reviews online, we also do that without sacrificing our reviews or the quality of what we offer. So we're going to actually, during those 30 minutes, probably dispel some of the myth as to how we do that. But really being able to offer a under $2,000 type of tuition is also very key to our social mission and what we want to be able to provide. And as I mentioned, in terms of rating, in terms of quality of what we have to offer, we are right now the third coding bootcamp in the US, but rated number one out of those top three with a 4.77 rating. If you can look us up on Course Reports, SwitchUp, or Karma, and check that for yourself. Um, so when you think about Nucamp, and I know many of you are looking at many alternatives and options, you always ask yourself, okay, how is that different? Why should I pick Nucamp versus something else? And so this is really when I actually try to answer that. On the one end of the spectrum of what you have available to you are what we call online bootcamps or online courses. You know, think about Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, edX. These are great avenues for anyone to start to learn to code because they're very inexpensive. You can actually buy right now a course on Udemy for maybe $20. Uh, you can live anywhere as well. You just need a laptop or computer, a good internet connection, and you can just get along, start coding and start learning. Um, so this is very interesting for someone who's just starting to think about learning to code and shifting careers. And actually, many of our students have started like that. They have started by just buying, one of those $10 courses on Udemy. Now, very quickly, what you realize though is it's very affordable. It's super easy to get in, but it's super hard to complete. And actually, there's a ton of research around that. Only 3% of anyone starting to learn online actually finishes it and completes or achieves the goal of, learning full stack or becoming a web developer. And that's mainly because you are actually on your own. There's a very little support to you. There's very little structure as well. Yeah, like Some people could actually finish the course in 1 week, or you could also finish the course in 2 years. There's no milestone, there's no support, there's no instructor. You're not part of a classroom with other students. You're pretty much online on your own. And that really doesn't help anyone stay committed, meet deadlines, and things like that. So, again, it's a great way to get started, very affordable, but that's most likely not how you're going to achieve your goal. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, what you find are what we call traditional boot camps. And these boot camps very often offer fully immersive experiences. They have a campus, they have full-time instructors, and it's pretty much going back to school, right? It's a great option if you meet a lot of the criteria to actually go that route. The very first one is, well, you have to be selected. Most of the time, there's an admission process, and you actually may not fit. Then when you're thinking about fully immersive and going to campus, of course, during the COVID time, that's not exactly the case, but you'll have to live in one of those cities. Not every city in the US actually have a coding bootcamp. And then there's really taking the risk. And the risk is really twofold for many of you. The first risk is, am I going to quit my job to attend that full-time immersive experience? Like, am I going to really make that jump and take the risk of not having money coming in and actually having money coming out? Because the second risk is it really worth the $15,000 or $20,000 or sometimes $40,000 that those coding bootcamp are asking? And that's the level of risks that I know for many of you is really hard to make or to take. And it's not that those traditional coding bootcamps offer bad value. Well, for 40,000, maybe that's not worth that much. But definitely a full-time immersive experience is a good thing. It's just there's way too much risk around that experience. And so, you see that column in the middle is empty right now because we're pretty much in that middle. We really thought about Nucamp from the ground up, taking the best of the online space where it's affordable, it's accessible, it's really easy to get in, there's no really risk involved. But then we've taken from the traditional bootcamp all the structure, all the support, all the commitment that you need to go to make actually to complete the program. And so really you can think of us as kind of the best of both worlds. There's very little risk involved. The tuition is super affordable. The quality is very high. It's still an immersive experience, although it is part-time. And you are part of, a classroom. So you kind of, in a way, back to school as well. So that's, I hope, helpful for many of you to kind of understand, why Nucamp versus anybody else. Now, a little bit of history. We started in 2017 in the state of Washington, where I personally live and my co-founder lives as well. And since then, we've actually enrolled 4,000 unique students. We've launched 1,000 bootcamps. We have every 6 months about 250 instructors that are active, delivering courses and bootcamps with us throughout the US. And we actually have just passed that milestone. We are running more than 100 workshops every Saturday across the US. And so every 5 weeks, as you can see on our schedule, we run new bootcamps, and every Saturdays, we run those workshops, and we are right now running about 100 of those every Saturday. And as you can tell, that level of availability in your region or in your city is not made at the expense of quality, because our quality has been rated very high by our students, and we're really proud of that. Okay, so you can be a beginner, you can be more advanced. We have a bootcamp for you all. If you are a total beginner, like you've only just started to look into coding, maybe you've bought that one course, $10 on Udemy, and maybe you've spent a few weeks starting to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we will recommend that you start with the 4-week web development fundamentals. That's going to give you the foundation of what you need to know before moving on to a more advanced coding bootcamp. And then we have the front end and the full stack. And by the way, Zandra will actually walk you through what's underneath those names. But
Yep.
think of those two advanced bootcamps as really being the ones that are preparing you for a new job, right? The beginner bootcamp is really to get you ready to learn the rest. So after that, chances are you're not going to be ready to get to a new job, but you can then pick either the front end or the full stack, and at the end of those, be actually ready to apply for job positions and things like that. Now you can tell here that we have different ways of paying the tuition. Uh, and that's actually a good segue into the next slide that introduces our Fair Student Agreement. So now, what is the Nucamp Fair Student Agreement? Well, first, it's a response to what the industry is moving towards and we're not, which is the income share agreement. We do not believe that an income share agreement is actually a fair deal for the student uh, because there's a ton of asterisks and small prints in those contracts that very often really surprises students in terms of how much they have to repay based on of how much they've actually spent in the boot camp. And so in response to that, we've decided to kind of change how people think about paying for their tuition by offering what we believe is the fairest and most affordable program in the Fair Student Agreement. So our best deal is something that's completely interest-free, with no credit checks, with no background check, with no nothing, pretty much. And that's how you'll actually get the best tuition at the end of the day. It's a payment plan, free payment plan, so you don't have to, pay the 1,480 in one go. You will actually pay that in four monthly installments of $370. That's available to anyone. There's actually an early bird date that Zandra will talk about. After that, the price goes slightly up, but it's available pretty much anytime for anyone. The second deal, which is a faster repayment deal, but that's when we actually then introduces a loan to the student. So this is the front end bootcamp, by the way. You can decide to pay your tuition over a 12-month, and you will pay, depending on your credit rating, between $125 and $130 for 12-month payments. Or you can go for the 18-month payments, and you will pay between $85 and $89. And you can see here that the total cost goes up slightly. But again, when you think about, taking a payment plan or contract to pay your tuition, we are talking about like a little bit more than $250 right here for the total cost of your loan, if you compare with the best deal. And then finally, we have a plan that really considers how you're going to be able to repay. So typically those first two plans are for people that will afford today to pay the tuition either 374 times or around $100 on a monthly basis. But for many people, these are still out of reach because they don't necessarily have the job that will help them pay those bills. And so for those individuals, we offer a plan that acknowledges that for while you're going to learn, you're not going to necessarily get the funds, but then after that, you'll be able to get the funds by getting a new job. And so that plan will actually offer you 4 monthly payments of pretty much a Netflix subscription, I like to say, between $8 to $16. And then you can go back to the original, faster repayment plan using 12 months or 18-month payment. And as I mentioned earlier, if you look at the total cost still is pretty darn good. You go from 1,480 to almost 1,800, so like kind of a little less than $400 of total cost. When you compare that to income share agreements, the change in pricing is like sometimes you're going to pay 5 times, 2.5 times what you will have paid otherwise. And so you can see how much more interesting that could be for anyone out there. All right. So that being said, this is available on our website. You can apply to it. Again, the very first one, no credit check, no question asked. You can just start to pay. The other ones, there's a process to apply to it. And what we are very proud of is we don't discriminate in terms of credit score. Like any credit score is open, and we actually will accept any credit score. There's a few exception, which is a recent bankruptcy or too many delinquencies in the past few years. But that's pretty much it. All right. So what I want to share now is kind of the experience of the bootcamp, and it's pretty straightforward. It's a rinse and repeat kind of deal, grade on day type of thing, where from Sunday to Friday you're going to learn online at your own pace. We provide you with daily and weekly schedule of what you're supposed to do, but we're not going to tell you, hey, you have to be available from that time to that time during Sunday to Friday, because we know most of you, you're busy, you have a life, you have a job, and maybe that set time is not going to work for you. And then you're going to feel behind, and then you're going to feel like you don't have the support that you were expecting. So you have support from your instructor, but it's pretty much whenever you need it. Again, from Sunday to Friday. Then on Saturday, that's when we're going to ask you to be present online. And it used to be in person before COVID, but online from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you're going to meet with your classmates, uh, maximum 12 people in a room, and your dedicated instructor, and you're going to really work on your end of week assignment. That's going to be your capstone moment for that weekly experience. And as I said, rinse and repeat. So every week it's the same. And then every 4 to 5 weeks, you're going to have a week break, and then you're going to do it again and do it again until you graduate. So, what really sets us apart as well is our new camp instructors. And I know you'll hear that from many coding bootcamps, but the difference with us is all these individuals, the 250 individuals, they are not full time instructors. They're actually full time employed in the industry. They are either freelances or web developers themselves in a Fortune 500 or in a startup or in a brick and mortar company in the IT department. And they are joining us, joining Nucamp and teaching with us because they care. And I've actually been watching videos of like observers and YouTubers who are talking about us. And actually, that's what people say. And it's been very pleasant to hear students actually reflect on that themselves, saying that's very much the difference is they are here because they want to help. They're not here for the paycheck, even though obviously we do compensate them, but they're mostly helping others because they want to help their students, because they care. And that makes a world of difference. That motivation and why they are with you makes a world of difference. They're going to be answering your questions. They're going to be helping you with your code, but they could also become your coach and your mentor. They are coming from all those different cities that we serve. So they could actually very much help you understand how to get in, how to get into the tech industry in your city. They can help you find the right meetup and all of that. So that's a key ingredient, I will say, of why people like what we do. It's the quality of our instructors, is the profile and why they come to us, and it's the diversity of their personal background that they can then share back with the students. Uh, and I would say you will likely be introduced to 3 or 4 different instructors throughout your journey, because every course that actually Zendra will actually present to us in a few minutes, really he's delivered by an instructor who's very proficient in that technology. And so you will have that diversity and richness of backgrounds available to you. And speaking of which, Sandra, uh, I will actually hand it over to you to tell us a little bit more about, well, at the end of the day, how do we become, or how do our audience is going to become a web developer?
All right. Thank you very much, Ludo, with that sterling introduction. Becoming a web developer means learning JavaScript in 2020, 2021. JavaScript is pretty much mandatory. There are other language frameworks, but if you want to build any kind of website, you're going to run into JavaScript, and that's why we teach it at Nucamp. Where a lot of you might have gotten distracted with Python ads while you're watching YouTube or something like that, but we teach JavaScript and a lot of it. Um, your average salary is going to depend on where you live in the country. It's going to vary slightly, but across the country, it's about 70K for a junior web developer. So we get you the technologies in front end and hopefully if you're with us for full stack so that you can get um, close to that or even better than that depending on where you live. And there's a lot more about that at our blog. If you go to Nucamp's blog, you can see a lot of articles about getting employed after boot camp. And the actual boot camp itself. If you have been to our website, you might have seen some of this, um, those three courses that Ludo just outlined in the slides, and you're probably wondering what they are. So we start you off if you're a beginner to coding with web fundamentals, web development fundamentals, and that's going to be the meat and potatoes of any website, any modern website, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And the beauty of this is it gives you a quick way, 4 weeks, and at a low cost, that introduction to the field. And you can see if you like um, looking at IDE all day, a coding editor, and you can learn about the bones of the website or the frame, the structure, which is the HTML, the styling, the paint, and the the decorations, the CSS, and the JavaScript, which kind of actuates everything, like um, makes everything work and operate. Then you'll be ready to decide if you want to join one of our advanced boot camps. So we have full stack and we have front end. And full stack front end is a subset of full stack. So if you take full stack, you'll learn all of the technologies on your screen right now. If you take front end, you can stop with us just at mobile and you can call yourself a front end developer. So the first thing you'll learn in either case will be Bootstrap. Bootstrap is super convenient for doing CSS, and it'll help you build a website that is responsive. And what that means is the website responds to the size of the device that it's being displayed on. So something on your phone versus something on a large monitor or on a big TV, the website will just intelligently resize itself and reorganize itself to fit the display size. But it's going to be kind of boring and static. There's not really much action going on in terms of the user interacting with the elements on the website. So their next course is going to be React. And this is kind of where things get a little tougher and you get more output for your input because now you're creating dynamic and responsive sites. So by dynamic, I mean a site that actually is interactive, that the user can do things and control things, and they'll see different screens based on what they what actions they take. And the next course after that is React Native. React Native is a tool for building for mobile. So you'll be able to take your React page and turn it into a mobile app. And React Native is great because you can develop for iOS or Android. It's for both platforms with a little bit of um, adapting. And then you'll be able to truly say that you're a front end developer with all these tools under your belt, including mobile, which is a big boost for your resume, React Native. If you graduate there, that's well and good, but you can go on to learn about the back end. So, a developer who knows how to do the front end and the back end is called a full stack developer. A lot of you I've spoken to on the phone, and you say, full stack, does that include the intro course? I'm like, no, it's not the full course of offerings, it's full stack development. So, um, you're you're doing both the front side that the user sees and the back side, which is like the databases and authentication. So in full stack, you'll go on for a few more weeks to study server side user profiles, and when you have a password and you log into a website and it has your profile picture and all these kind of things, and going deeper into Node.js, and uh, Express, MongoDB. That's about it. Great. So now Ludo is going to show you some of those projects that I just mentioned that students have actually done with us.
Yeah, with pleasure. And so throughout that journey, you're going to work on a learning project that every student goes through. But then we're also asking every student to work on their own personal project, and they do that solo. They can do that in groups, which means that at the end of the bootcamp, you're going to have a portfolio of things to demonstrate and to show your hiring manager. If you're wondering what kind of projects, the good news is we have a YouTube channel for that. And so what I'm going to do is just browse through that channel and show you one of a few actually of those projects that I really like. And again, if you're on YouTube, just look for the playlist actually on our channel. If you're on Facebook, just go to YouTube and look for those playlists, the student projects playlist. We add new projects every 5 weeks. So this one actually, we just saw it on Monday. This past Monday, we had our graduation, and someone built a kind of a Robin Hood type of app in React Native and showed us also the Node.js backend. So I'm not going to play the full video, but just a snippet of it. So that's kind of a React Native. Um, and what I wanted to do is, there you go. So let's see how that goes.
Oh, very cool. I actually haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Oh, wow.
All right, so that's one of them. I'm not gonna show everything. My screen is freezing when I go from full screen to not full screen. There we go. So there's that one. There's a few. There's one that I really like. It's a game of chess, and it's actually real-time communication over the internet between two chess players. I was looking for that one, couldn't find it, but then I found another one, which is a Pokemon game. Uh, and so let me show you the screen for that one again. Pretty cool. I'm going to go straight to that UI because look at that. All those cards with the Pokemons, with the strength. And so you can play a full Pokemon game. This one is, there we go, game rules. And this one is web. So that's React, not React Native. But again, we also saw the Node.js backend. So, I mean, with that, the point is you can build a ton of really funky, fun, powerful things at the end of the bootcamp to get a job in a Fortune 500 company or brick and mortar or your local startup, or actually to start your own thing and become a freelancer. All right, Sandra, back to you.
Yep, thanks. Very nice. I got to go back and look at that new app. So here's our schedule, because you're probably thinking at this point, when can I join? And we have our boot camp starting every 5 weeks, so no worries if you miss one. We have the next um, uh, front end and full stack is starting up in January 11th, and you get the early bird discount on your tuition if you join 2 weeks or more before the class. So that's right around now to start thinking about that. And that deadline's going to be December 28th. We have the fundamentals course starting January 4th. And that way, when you're just finishing up, you can think about joining the February front end or full stack. About around the third week or so of your fundamentals course, you should want to be registering for the next advanced bootcamp. Yeah, and that next deadline, don't forget Monday. Okay, so scholarships. Many of you have called, and I've spoken to some on the phone. And during this tough times, everybody's trying to get their a little more uh, mileage out of their paychecks. So we do have some scholarships on offer for military veterans. We have a Reskill America and a laptop scholarship, and we also have a scholarship for recent high school graduates who are, wondering what to do with their career, or maybe this is not the time to think about college right away, but before college, study something else, and maybe you don't even need to go to college and get those massive student loans. Okay, so career services. I really love the career services at Nucamp. It's included in the tuition, so you're really not going to find a better deal out there. Um, we offer career coaching for our grads. You a can schedule a session with a coach who's going to help you with whatever topic you feel concerned about, your resume or your LinkedIn profile. And we have um, hackathons. We offer a LinkedIn Premium membership for 1 month. We offer lifetime access to the course material, which is huge, especially considering React gets updated like so often that you can go back in even after you're employed. You can go back in and see if there's any new videos or see if there's any new course content about new features of React. And of course, my favorite is we have um, our Slack, our New Camp Slack, which is a really awesome community, and you're instantly expanding your network by hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, if you consider your fellow students who work at different companies that might need web development. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. There, Ludo, if you had anything else that I missed.
Oh, I'll just point out our job board, a nationwide job board where we reach out to companies on LinkedIn, and we ask them, hey, do you have an open position, and would you be interested in hiring a new camp graduate? And if they say yes, then we post that job opportunity to our board. And what that means is those opportunities, they get filled right away because they're very, very qualified. These are people that have already said, yes, we will be interested in hiring a new camp graduate. And so that's a great benefit as well. And we're seeing that number of people saying yes grow. And so we're seeing more and more of those postings on our board. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All
Thanks.
right. So see, it's 34. So this is the second half, Zandra, um, of our open house, where we are going to go and check out all your questions, either on YouTube or on Facebook. So, Zandra, while we were doing this, did you find any that you would like to tackle right now, or should I just go there and check it out myself? And boy, you've had tons of questions. This is great.
Yeah, it's great. I see. Aimal Mansouri asked, "How do we need to pay after graduation?" So, good question. after you graduate, depending on which payment plan you've selected, if you choose our best offer, our best plan, you don't have any payments left after graduation if you're paying the 370 or so per month. If you've chosen to work with our partner Climb and finance your tuition, your payments will be between I think it was 110 Ludo and
Yeah,
125.
anywhere between $90 to $150, depending on which bootcamp and what was your rate. But yeah, you will pay that back to Climb directly.
hmm And that'll be a monthly thing, and you'll have everything laid out for you in the agreement. There's no strings or surprises here, like with ISAs.
That's correct. There's always the question about, okay, are we online? Are we in person? I mean, I've read that those workshops were in person. At this time, those Saturday workshops are online as well using Zoom, and we've really been able to replicate the experience of the time where they were in person. We hope to go back to in person in approximately 35 cities, hopefully more. I would say by the fall of 2021. That's kind of the plan right now. There's going to be a big vaccination campaign, and slowly but surely, we're going to get out of this COVID mess. And so, yeah, I think the plan is fall 2021. We'll be able to go back to in person.
Great. So I see another one on Facebook
Okay.
about the Ron Tablin. He said he needs a flexible schedule. So as we mentioned, it is super flex. You're going to study at least 2 or 3 hours every day, especially when you get to React. But we've had students who devote more time to that. So if you're able to devote extra time to your studies, then that's great. You can just go above and beyond. You can really explore uh, the supplemental materials. You can really practice a lot of the curriculum. So it's totally up to you what you what time you can put into it during the week. Saturday is the only time where it's kind of not very flexible. Saturday we have a set classroom time. That's the hybrid part of the boot camp.
And I see a question about are the boot camps available only for US citizens because I live in the UK. So they're actually available to anyone given that we're online. Of course, when we go back to in person, that'll be much harder for someone who's not local to attend them. But while we're online, you can certainly register. The requirement is for you to be able to attend an online workshop on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so if you live in the UK, that's pretty straightforward. I would suggest that you register in on the eastern region of the US. So you pick online Eastern, for example, and that'll be then 9 a.m. UK time. I think that's 8 hours ahead, right? So that should be like 5 p.m. for you or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Okay, let's see. I was too busy shouting out to Zach. Risen. Okay, so are the instructors led in Eastern Time? I think you pretty much just covered that. Be Real for You on YouTube. So we have all kinds of time zones. We have online Eastern, online Central, online Pacific, and the workshops are in whatever time zone you're in and you've signed up for. You're free to sign up for whichever time zone you like right now during COVID. It doesn't really matter because you don't have to go anywhere. But you you might benefit from knowing the classmates and the instructor that live in your area in terms of networking and job searching.
Hey, I wanna do my own shout out to Adrian Epic, who's really helping us actually answer all those questions. So thank you, Adrian. And I'll share that you and I may have the same background. So I am personally 40. Oh boy, 40. Am I 48? Yeah, I'm 48. Dang it! I had to look at the year again. Um, but I stopped coding for like 20 years. I started as a coder, then done other things, and then went back to it with Nucamp. And you're right, it's a lot of memory muscle. You still have to learn a lot, and I felt like a newbie for a long time. Um, I'm looking at the code I produced like 2 years ago, and I actually don't want to watch. I don't want to look at it again. It's like
It's
it's
painful.
working. Don't touch it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the point is, if you are someone like Adrian or myself, it's actually pretty fun to go back to it. Things have evolved dramatically, and yet they have remained the same. That's kind of crazy. All right. So
I,
thank you, Adrian, for all your help.
yeah, thanks, Adrian. Good job. I see one from Raul Serna. How much experience is needed for joining any of the courses? So, Raul, good question. You only need to be proficient with your OS, your operating system. You only need to have used a computer for about a year at least, and just be able to run your computer efficiently um, to join the HTML, the Web Fundamentals course. As far as the other two courses, you might be in between. A lot of you here might have already started learning basic JavaScript, and you're not quite sure if you should refresh yourself on the fundamentals or if you're ready for the full stack or front end. So we have a little quiz link at our website on the FAQ page, and it's a little self-assessment. You don't have to send us the results or anything. It's just for you to know which course you should join. So check out our FAQ page at nucamp.co.
Amanda is asking about the price that we show on our website. And so you're talking about 1880. That's the full stack bootcamp in early price. No one, I mean, we don't ask you to pay that amount straight away. So that's very much the best deal where you will register for $376 and then you're going to pay that 4 more times. Just so you can do that or go through the Climb credit loan application and have smaller monthly payments. Okay.
Christina Jackson on YouTube, she's asking about the laptop. And for the fundamentals course, you don't really need a super powered laptop for the fundamentals course. VS Code and Chrome is going to take a lot of memory, but we have the basics requirements or recommendations for a computer also at our FAQ page. You just want at least 8 GB of RAM, a solid state drive, something from the past, at least 3 years or newer, and you can get more details at our FAQ page. But once you get to React, you in React Native, you're gonna need to definitely abide by those recommendations for a machine.
Yeah, and there's some confusion. We always talk about a laptop as well, Zandra, and we used to say laptop because you had to bring it when you were attending those Saturday workshops in person. You were not going to bring, your desktop computer. But given that we're online again, a desktop computer kind of works as well. So desktop Mac, desktop PC, desktop Linux as well will work. So yeah, we still talk in terms of laptop, but a desktop works while we are online.
Yeah, and you get more
Okay,
money you get more mileage out of your money for a desktop too.
correct. Oh yeah. Um, all right. Adrian is asking if there is a full recording of this session. So yes, so that's also why we picked YouTube. Is you can go back to the same URL after we're done and then play it again. So it's kind of by design recorded and replayable.
I
All
see
right.
Michael Reyes just asked in the YouTube, if I do web dev fundamentals, how do I go about going from the beginner to the front end? Do I need to pay the other full amount? So yes, good question, Michael. You can register for both at the same time. And if you like, you can register, just see how you like the fundamentals. Just pay for the fundamentals course, which is a one-time payment. And then when you get around week 2, week 3, you're gonna start getting closer to the next early bird discount date for the advanced boot camps that you would be interested in. So you just want to think like, am I enjoying this? Do I like this? Do I see myself doing more of this? Do I like Nucamp style? And then you can sign up for one of the advanced boot camps.
Right. Yeah. Shavon Carson is asking, can we connect with you on LinkedIn? I'm not sure if it's with us, Zandra and me, or if it's with Adrian. If it's us, the answer is yes. And I'm guessing if it's Adrian, the answer is probably yes as well. But you'll find me and you'll find Zandra under our names in LinkedIn, and looking forward to connecting with you. Christina is asking about refund. It's funny, we have a lot of questions on tuition and pricing right now. So of course, we offer a refund, and we actually are following the refund policies of education states, and they almost all look the same, which is we're going to refund you a percentage of what you paid based on the percentage of time you spent in the boot camp. For the state of Washington, which is kind of what is applied across. If you stay up to 25% of the boot camp, we're going to refund you 25%. If you stay up to 50% in the boot camp, we're going to refund you 50%. If you stay more than 50% in the boot camp, we will not refund you. And that's, again, state education board type of refund policies. Where we differ from other coding bootcamp is we allow you to pause and reschedule and retake your bootcamp. Again, we really understand that life happens, and if you can't stay committed for a couple of weeks because of anything, you can pause your bootcamp. So let's say you're in the middle of React. You want to say, okay, I want to skip that session and I want to do it again in 3 weeks. You can do that for $39. Just $39. You can just stop, pause, wait 3 weeks, do it again. You can do it another time for $79. And then you can actually, and I have one student, one person who's actually pushed it 5 times now. Uh, and she's paying $79 every time, but just $79. So that I mean, we don't have to refund you. Like if the problem is really I can't stay committed, you don't have to drop out. You don't have to cancel. You can just pause it, retake it. But then, of course, if you decide to refund, we have the state education policy in place.
All right, thanks. Yep, I see Thitipong on Facebook that you say you want to enroll. Yep, good job. And you're wondering about one stack at a time. So just to reiterate, front end is one aspect of web development where that developer focuses on what the user sees in the browser or in the mobile app, and that's called the front end. And back end is database connection and more details on authentication and so on, kind of connecting the data to the front end. So when a developer can do front end and back end, they're called a full stack developer because they can command the full stack of technologies that operate the app or the site. So when you say, can I sign up for one stack at a time? You can technically. You can either take our front end course, the 17-week course, or you can take both. Either way, you're going to go through the front end technologies first, and then you'll learn the back end technologies after in the full stack.
Yeah, it's great clarification. And I'll take Amanda's Schumann question, very interesting one, where Amanda has been teaching Python to students for more than a year, but she doesn't seem to know JavaScript, and she wants to know where should we start? Where should she start? And I will say you do want to learn the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript if you don't have them, even though you may know Python. Now, you can enroll in our 4 weeks bootcamp, and that's going to do it for you. Or you can just learn those things online. I mean, our 4 weeks bootcamp are really meant to help people get up to speed and also test Nucamp. Like, is it going to work? Like what we offer, is it what you want? But you can actually learn those fundamentals elsewhere. So you can buy, one of those $15 course on Udemy and look for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And what I mean about JavaScript is precisely manipulating the document object model, the DOM, in JavaScript, because all the modern languages, that's what they do with JavaScript. React manipulates the DOM every time, and so that's what we teach. So you want to go a little bit beyond just loops and arrays and data structure in JavaScript. You want to know how you're going to manipulate the DOM in JavaScript. So look for that. And as I said, either online on your own, or just sign up for 4 weeks bootcamp. And I think, Zandra, earlier you talked about a test that we have, right?
Hmm.
So then take the test and see if you pass the test. And if you pass the test, fine, you can just register to the full stack or the front end bootcamp.
Right on. And you can take that quiz right now too, and it'll show you what you got wrong, so you can
That's
go
right.
back and focus on those areas. Just go to our FAQ page.
Yeah.
I see Dada Bahai on YouTube asking, "Do you have interview prep class?" So we don't have a specific class dedicated to um, coding challenges or algorithms. You're When you graduate, you'll have a coding coach that you can schedule time with, and you can do the pair programming practice. If you're talking about technical interview prep, you can discuss the topic of your choosing. I haven't done one of those sessions yet, but I have with other students, not in an interview prep setting, but just doing the driver and the navigator kind of pair programming, solving a problem. So there's that, and there's also of course, so-called soft interview, or the screening phone screen interview. We can prepare you to answer those questions, and our career planning course, our career course, will pose some of those typical interview questions, like tell me about yourself. Are you ready to answer that elevator pitch kind of question?
Uh, Thank you, Zandra. I'm going to answer Christina, who just caught me. I think I made a mistake when I talked about the refund, and Christina is right. So Christina said, "Hey, you said if you stay 25% of the program, you get a 25% refund. Uh, shouldn't it be the other way around?" And yes, you're absolutely right. If you stay up to 25% into the program, we'll refund you the 75% of the tuition. Of course, you will not have paid 100% of the tuition, but I mean, that's the math. The math is you only pay 25% of the program tuition if you only stay 25% in the way. Um, and I saw something else similar to that. Oh yeah, so if you sign up for the front end bootcamp and you're like, oh, everybody else is continuing on to full stack, can I just do it, or do I have to start again? Well, the good news is no, you can just upgrade. So we have that mechanism where at any time, if you're in the middle of React Native and you see everyone around you saying, yes, we're going and completing with full stack, you can just pay the difference and then continue with your classmates.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, I hear that discussion when I was teaching the intro course, that, hey, are you going on to the full stack? Or, hey, are you going on to the front end? Oh, I don't know yet. And then by week 3 or 4, it's like, oh, no, I missed the deadline. I want to go up. Yeah, definitely keep your eye on that discount deadline. Save yourself some money.
There's a
Let's.
question from Naija around. You mentioned this program is only for U.S. citizen. So actually, no, it is for anyone. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen. Not at all. You can be also living uh, in a different city or in a different country. So yeah, there's no question about are you a citizen or not.
Hmm. Yep, I see Swig13 on YouTube, ready to start January 4th. That answers Rahul's question about when does the fundamentals start. Um, you can still sign up for the January 4th fundamentals if you like.
Indeed. And so if you start on January 4th, uh, you're going to then be set up to continue on with the February, 15th, I think. So February 15th will then be when you will continue to front end of full stack. There was a question, I think, out there about how do we help get you jobs? I can't
Hmm.
find it anymore.
Look, I think, yeah.
But I mean, you can check out our website. It's career services. Um, and we had a slide, but we'll just do a quick recap. We have career advisors. So once you graduate, you are matched up with your career advisor, and you're going to be able to schedule 30 minutes conversation with that advisor to go over your LinkedIn profile, go over your GitHub profile, and pretty much you're going to pick the topic you want to talk during that 30 minutes. Then you're going to join the job search channel on our Slack, and that's where also you'll see all the jobs that we identify for you. Those are the jobs where we reach out to companies. We say, hey, do you have a position for our Nucamp graduate? And if they say yes, they're going to fill our form and we're going to push that out to the graduates. We also give you access to LinkedIn Premium, which is a paid version of LinkedIn. We give you access to a 6 weeks course that we're actually kind of upgrading right now with Zendra's help. And so we're doing a ton, really. And we were doing something like several months ago, and 3 months ago, we've just announced that those improved career services, and we're pretty happy about that.
So I see also Mark Baker on YouTube. How does support work during the week? If we choose when to participate, what hours are support available? So as Ludo mentioned, our instructors are professionals in the industry, so they are teaching part-time, and they'll let you know their availability during uh, the first day of class when you log into your portal, learning portal. They're available for, I think it's an hour each day, and
Correct.
they will be available by DMs, I think email too,
Yeah.
through the portal, and also on our Slack. So you have different ways of contacting your instructor. And then you can also use our Slack to get support, which is huge. Every single day we have people posting their code in our public Slack channels or our open Slack channels where they say, "Hey, can someone help me? This is not working. I've been working on it. Here's my code." And then someone will jump in, an alumni or another instructor or a student who's a few months ahead of you, and they'll say, "Yeah, you left out the closing parentheses on line 12 or something." And you say, "Oh, thanks, it's working." That happens every day in our Slack. So you have plenty of support.
Great, great, great. Pascal is asking, hey, I'm currently attending the fundamentals class, so I'm guessing it's the 4 weeks bootcamp. Will I be able to upgrade to full stack without starting over? So the answer is yes, because they're really different from one another. Um, and so you will end the 4 weeks bootcamp, and then you'll have to register for the full stack. So there's no upgrade in a way. It's just two different bootcamps. You register to one, and then you register to the next one.
hmm And
So
then,
yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Okay.
Oh, I was just going to pick up on Edwards, who's just been asking about career services, even for those with no formal experience. So yes, but you will have to be a graduate. So those career services are really for people who by design have some level of experience because they just went through a 22 weeks boot camp. And so they're not newbies or beginners anymore. We don't offer the career services for people who are not graduates.
Mm. Okay, I see Renee Matthews on YouTube just submitted your climb application. I hope you're approved too. Thanks for joining us. And Al Gwen asks, what are the requirements for graduation? So every
Great.
workshop you do, on Saturday, you will be coding with your instructor and your classmates, and then you're going to submit that project to our learning portal. You'll have a link where you upload your files, and you have to score out of 1 through 10. You have to score a 6 or better on your assignment. And each Saturday you have to score well on your assignment. And then if you have passed all your Saturdays, you can get the certificate for that segment of the course. Remember I mentioned, Bootstrap, React Native. So you'll receive that certificate and then you graduate, you get the final certificate. And we have honors graduation as well for if you do more a little bit more requirements.
That's right. And we are very close to the top of the hour, Zandra. I'll take one more question and then I think that'll be a wrap. Mazzy is asking, hey, can someone start without paying and just only pay after completing the course? We have something that's super close to that. It's not $0 while you learn. It's $8 to $20 while you learn. And so we hope that's still very much in the range of what you will hope to be able to do. And so that's what we hope for you. You can check that out. It's our fair student agreement. And so that's something that's available uh, to you. All right. It's 10 a.m. in here. Zandra, it's a little bit earlier for you.
8 a.m.
Zandra
over
is in,
here.
Honolulu in Hawaii. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Zandra, again, for being the co host with me today. We both hope to see you very soon in our coding bootcamp.
Yeah.
Uh, and hope to continue the conversation on our internal Slack. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Everybody.